you're watching The 60 on LockerBlogger.com. I'm Roman Lillie, and today we're joined by Marc Malusis of WFAN Radio, here to talk to us about all things March Madness. Marc, how are you?
Roman, a pleasure. How are you?
Good. So now, what are you thinking about how this tournament is shaping up? Do you agree with the decisions that were made?
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything to quibble about whether or not Virginia Tech didn't get in, or Seton Hall, or Mississippi State. I think the bubble was pretty weak this year. About 2 weeks ago, people were saying there were probably about 48 teams that were qualified to make the field of 65. So I don't think Greenberg has anything set, that is, the Hokies coach, anything to scream about, neither Bobby Gonzalez or Weber out in Illinois. I think the field was picked correctly. I had issues with the seeding. I don't think Notre Dame should have been a 6 seed. I think you look at Villanova, they should not have been a 2 seed, no less in Duke's bracket. Marquette should have been in Duke's bracket, should have been the 2. I think they gave Duke a little bit too easy of a run to the Final Four. And they didn't do Kansas any favors. I mean, you look at the strength of the Midwest region, and the Kansas Jayhawks, the #1 overall seed, and you look at that region with the likes of a Michigan State, a Maryland, a Georgetown, an Ohio State, even a tough Tennessee as the 6th seed. Kansas wasn't done any favors. That is a very, very difficult region.
Absolutely. Kansas is the #1 team, and people are definitely saying that they have a tough road ahead of them. Their bracket is certainly difficult. How far do you think they can go with that being the case?
Even with that being said, I still think they can get to Indianapolis. I do. But I think they should have been, I think the committee should have done a better job of balancing out the top 5 overall seeds in each respective region. The South, the East, the Midwest, and I think that is where you look at it, where you have a little bit of an issue as far as the committee. I think you look at Kansas. I think Bill Self's team with Xavier Henry, the talented freshman, with Collins and Aldridge, the big center down low, and the Morris brothers. I think Kansas can still, despite being in the toughest regions, can still go out there in Indianapolis and certainly can cut down the nets.
So we know that Kansas does have a tough road ahead of them, but teams like you mentioned, Duke, also Syracuse, the bracket's looking a lot weaker there, a lot of an easier road. What are you expecting out of those teams, given what they have coming up?
Well, I think when you look at it, if you grade it out, I think you would grade it out. The Midwest is the toughest. The East would probably be the 2nd toughest. The West is the 3rd, and then the South. I mean, I look at it, who do I like in each region? I kind of like looking at it, and I like Kansas. I think West Virginia's got a shot of knocking off Kentucky because I'm a Big East guy in the East. I think Syracuse is going to get through on the West, but I think it's dependent. They might not have Onuaku for the opening weekend. They need him for the second weekend, and certainly if they have a showdown against Kansas State down the line, they're going to need Onuaku to be healthy in order to advance to Indianapolis. And I like a little bit of a surprise team. I don't think the Duke Blue Devils were all that strong. I don't think the ACC conference on the whole was all that strong, but I kind of like Baylor a little bit down there in the South.
Now, aside from Onuaku and Syracuse, with the injury, are there other teams that you think are really going to have to sort of make some adjustments because of players on their teams that have had some problems?
Well, I think not a major one. When you're looking at the upper echelon teams, Robbie Hummel's been out for a while for Purdue with a torn ACL. He suffered that injury against Minnesota in the regular season, and that's why you see the Purdue Boilermakers being a 4 in the South region. That's why that region is really weak, with Villanova a weak 2, Baylor, a pretty strong 3, but overall, and then you have Texas A&M being the 5. I mean, I think Onuaku's the only key injury that you're looking at here moving forward, and that's a big one for Syracuse. If he's not 100%, and if he's not 90%, if he's playing at about 70%, they need him. They don't have a lot of depth. They can't cut down the nets and win a national championship without him. If he's on the floor, Syracuse can go out there with that 2-3 zone. Wesley Johnson, Big East Player of the Year. Andy Routen's knocking down the threes. They can beat any team in the country.
So now, who's your Cinderella pick for the Sweet 16?
Cinderella pick for the Sweet 16. I think Richmond's got a shot of, and I think that I'm going to end up picking them to knocking off Villanova in the second round and reaching the Sweet 16 as a 7 seed. I think they've got a very good chance. I think Murray State's got a good shot of pulling off a first-round upset. I don't know if I'd pick them to go all the way to the Sweet 16, but I love the way the Spiders are playing. They've got good guards. They play good defense. They hold opponents to 39% shooting from the floor and play tough and good all season long, and have got good veteran guards. I think Richmond is going to knock off Jay Wright and the Wildcats, who have not been playing good basketball for the better part of a month and a half here. I think Richmond's going to get to the Sweet 16 in that South region.
And now when you go forward, Final Four, who do you have?
My Final Four, I like West Virginia. I'll go West Virginia. I'll go Baylor. I'll go Syracuse, and I'll go Kansas. And I think, I'll go Kansas cutting down the nets out in Indianapolis.
I love how every Syracuse person I talk to, of course, put Syracuse in their Final Four pick. Any bias there for you? Oh,
sure. I mean, I can't root against the Orange, Roman. Do you expect me to do that? No. But I look at that bracket, honestly, I think if Onuaku's healthy, I think Syracuse is a top 4 team in the country, and I think they're better than anything else in that bracket. And they've got veteran leadership. It's a veteran-based team. They have a difference maker in Wesley Johnson. I think they're set up for a pretty good run here. They were undefeated on the road up until the last game in the regular season. I think Syracuse is awfully good. Onuaku injury is key to follow, but I think Syracuse is going to get to Indianapolis. I do.
Okay, so now, Syracuse has definitely been looking good. They do have an easier bracket, so I think, might be kind of a safe pick there. But now, when we talk about, the choices that have been made with the teams, what do you think about the chatter of, possibly expanding to 96 teams, opening the field up a little bit more?
I don't want, I think it'll get watered down. I mean, you look at it this year, Roman, what do I need? Do I need to see Virginia Tech in there? Do I need to see a Seton Hall in there? Do I need to see a Mississippi State? I mean, the specialness of it is that it is now 65 teams, and now you have a play-in game on Tuesday night. Fine. You made it a field of 65. But there's always going to be a debate. If you expand it to 96, there's going to be a debate about Team 97, 98, and 99, and why aren't they in over Team 96, 95, and 94? And I know it's about money. Money makes the world go round. They're looking to expand it. More television coverage means more revenue for the NCAA. The NCAA's biggest money generator is this tournament, is March Madness. We all get into it. We all fill out a bracket. I get it. But what makes the tournament so special is that you have the field of 65. That's fine. I don't need to see 96 teams in.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. I think it will be tough for them to possibly, do away with the extra money, revenue, like you mentioned, that could possibly come from it. But,
yes.
I kind of like the idea of having a few extra teams in there. I don't know about 96. It seems like kind of a lot, but, I guess we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I've heard some people mention 68, have 4 play-in games for each region. I could see that. I think 96 would be a little bit too overkill. But, the amount of Division I teams has clearly gone up, to the low 230s to, well over 340 Division I basketball teams now. So, I mean, certainly the amount of teams across the country playing Division I hoops has certainly risen.
Yeah, but I do think you're right. I think even if they did expand it, it certainly wouldn't get rid of any of the controversy. They would still definitely be looking at the teams that didn't make it. So, I definitely agree with you there. So.
Yeah, and that's my only point. You're never going to get rid of the debate unless you included every Division I team. The debate's not going to go away, and that's what makes it fun. Talking on the Monday and Tuesday after, as far as who didn't get in, why didn't they get in. I think there needs to be set rules, set guidelines, not like computerized what they do with the BCS in football. But, there needs to be a set amount of parameters as far as what qualifies a team one over another as far as getting in that large bid. I think that's something the committee needs to look at moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us today.
You got it, Roman, anytime.
Thank you, thank you. All right, well, you've been watching the 60 on LockerBlogger, and stay tuned. We're going to have lots of March Madness, everything going on. Any updates, we'll have it here for you.